Revenge films.
My name is Kelly Smith. I live at home with my parents, and I'm 27 years old. I work at a major company in the telecommunications industry. Work was my life, and it was my main focus as I worked extra hard at my job. I was earning a pretty decent salary because of that, and so every year I was looking forward to taking a long break and going on vacations overseas. Every year for the New Year holiday, it had become a family tradition to go to Hawaii. But this year, both of my parents would be turning 60 years old, which was a big celebration. So I was thinking we should splurge on a luxury cruise tour, and I was right in the middle of planning that. I didn't want to tell my parents until right before because I wanted to surprise them, so I was moving the plans and preparations along by myself. I knew how hard my parents had worked up until now to build our family and how much they had struggled. That's why I wanted them to be able to enjoy the rest of their lives doing a lot of fun things. The reason why my parents had struggled so much was actually because of my little sister Jessica, who's 2 years younger than me. Ever since she was a child, my sister had a free-spirited personality, to put it nicely. She would act without thinking about the trouble that it would cause to those around her, and she had caused many problems throughout her life. Back when she was a student, she was never able to follow the school rules, and my parents had to go to the school multiple times to apologize to the principal and other parents. Even after she graduated and she became a working adult, she wasn't able to keep any job for a long period of time. It was given for her to mooch off of my parents, even though they weren't making that much money either. And then, right around the time that she had just turned 20 years old, the most unimaginable incident occurred that would be etched into our family history. At that time, I had just started a new job and I was pretty tired every day. On that day, it was my day off of work, and I was relaxing at home, but then, suddenly out of nowhere, the doorbell rang. When my mom went to go answer the front door, she was taking her back to find that there was a woman standing furious, so angry that she looks like the devil, and then the woman said, "Hey, that girl named Jessica, this is her house, isn't it? How dare she lay her hands on my husband? Who does she think she is? If you're here, Jessica, you better come out right now!" The woman was screaming, and then she was storming into our house, and then she laid eyes on me and locked on, saying, "It's you! You must be Jessica!" And as she continued screaming, she lunged and grabbed me. I desperately tried to fight her off and say, "No, Jessica's my little sister. I'm not Jessica. I swear, please." But the woman was in such a fit that she couldn't hear me, and continued being physically aggressive with me. The woman slapped me with all of her strength across my face, and my mother called the police. The police soon arrived and they arrested the woman. As a result of their investigation, it was discovered that the woman was in fact the wife to the man my sister was having an affair with. After that, my little sister was sued for a settlement fee for the affair. Little did we know that she borrowed money from the black market to pay off that settlement fee. Soon after that, she disappeared, and every single day the debt collectors would come pounding on our door to collect the debt. By that time, her debt had increased to $50,000, but Jessica was nowhere to be found. So they had to pay it off with the money they had saved up for their retirement, and that was how our family somehow got away from being chased by the debt collectors every day. However, because of my little sister, their entire savings were gone, and I could tell that both of my parents were deeply upset by this. But after that incident, my little sister never came back, and our life returned to normal and things were peaceful in the house. My parents had regained their energy, and we were able to welcome their 60th birthdays happily at home. During that time, I had contemplated the reservations for the luxury cruise, and I was moving the plan along until one day. On that day, my parents happened to be out, so I was home alone, and I was cleaning the house, when suddenly I heard the front door swing open. I was shocked and turned around immediately, and to my disbelief, my little sister was there standing in the living room. "Oh, Kelly, long time no see." She said that as she was laughing nonchalantly, but without thinking, I felt the anger rise up and I yelled, "Who do you think you are coming around here after all this time?" But without missing a beat, my sister replied, "Oh, please, this is also my house, so I should be free to come back whenever I want, right? It's the family home, after all." And she sat right down on the sofa, and then she saw the pamphlets for the luxury cruise that were sitting on the coffee table and she grabbed them. "What is this? Oh, wow, this looks amazing. When are you going?" She started asking me multiple questions, so I told her the dates, but informed her that I was taking my parents and that it was just going to be the three of us, so it was none of her business, and I bluntly blew her off. But then she started to throw a tantrum and said, "Seriously? You're just going to leave me out of the family like that? How could you?" So I replied, "Do you have any idea what you've done to our parents? The next time you show your face at this house, I am going to collect $50,000 from you. And if you don't want to pay that, then don't come back here ever again." I was furious, but Jessica started laughing and said, "Oh gosh, how scary. Well then, next time I come back here, I'll make sure to do it when you're not home." And she finally dragged her feet out of the house. I quickly picked up the phone and contacted some of my sister's friends to try to gather information about what happened. As it turns out, she had been hopping from house to house of men outside the state, but Jessica eventually ran into trouble with a man who had a wife and kids, and that's why she had come running back to her hometown to escape. I didn't want there to be another repeat of the past, so I decided to tell my parents about that incident, and we all put up our guard and were extra careful moving forward. And then 2 months passed by after that. My little sister never ended up showing up again, and we were able to maintain our peaceful lives. And finally, we were able to get to the day of the family trip to celebrate my parents' 60th anniversary. Just as we had planned, the three of us departed home for our vacation. When we arrived at the destination, I received a phone call. It was my little sister. I answered the phone, and immediately Jessica started talking. "Oh, that luxury cruise that you reserved is the best! It's amazing! Thanks for paying for it!" She was laughing, and I was shocked. So then I simply said, "What are you talking about? I made a reservation for a hot springs resort." What had actually happened was that when I spoke to my parents about the luxury cruise tour, they were grateful, but they said that they would prefer to go to a quiet hot springs resort and enjoy quality family time together without worrying about those around them. So I had changed our plans and the reservation to a hot springs resort for 3 days and 2 nights. As for the luxury cruise tour, I had made the reservation in case, but I hadn't made any payments yet. That meant that the reservation wasn't fully confirmed, and I was able to cancel it. Because of that, I struggled to understand what exactly my little sister was saying to me. "Huh? A bus tour? What are you talking about? When I told them your name at the port, they said that there was a reservation, so I was able to get on board." That's what my little sister was saying, so I started to have a bad feeling. I hung up the phone, and when I made an inquiry at the tour company, just as I had expected, someone with the same name and gender had also made a reservation. That's why my sister was able to luckily get on board the cruise. But because I had contacted the travel agency and reported this, it was discovered that someone without a reservation had gotten on board the cruise ship. The staff on board found my sister, and she was caught. Because the ship had already left the port, there was no way to turn back, and so my sister was left with no choice but to pay the full fee of the luxury cruise tour herself. But this was none of our business, and we didn't need to worry about that anymore, so we decided to forget about my little sister and fully enjoy our family vacation at the hot springs. 1 month later, the fun New Year's holiday was over, and my life had completely gone back to the usual daily life. I had my hands full with work, and every day I was busy, but happy with my life. But then one day at night, when I was relaxing at home, I heard somebody banging on the front door. I was scared as I walked over and mustered up the courage to say something. "Who is it?" I asked, but then I heard, "It's me, Jessica. Please, open the door." I could hear my sister's voice, and she sounded weak. I decided to open the door. Standing there was my little sister, in ragged clothing and completely frail. According to what she told us, when she was on the luxury cruise tour and got off at an international destination, she started enjoying herself without having any money, and she was arrested by the local police. Because of that, she wasn't able to get back on the boat, and she was instead left in the hands of the local international police. Even though she was finally able to be let go, she didn't have any money to get back, so she had to work a suspicious under-the-table job there, and she was finally able to manage a ticket back home. As soon as she got back into the country, the tour company found her and contacted her. They told her she needed to pay for the luxury cruise fees, but she didn't have a single penny to her name, and she was left with no choice but to borrow money from the black market once again. She was chased after by the debt collectors every single day, and she came back to the family house because she wanted my parents to take care of it for her again somehow. This time, my parents had no sympathy, and they said,
"We don't have a single penny to pay for you anymore. Now hurry up and get out."
As they said it, they forced her outside, and as soon as they slammed the door shut, they locked it. For a while after that, I could hear my little sister outside the door, begging, "Please, help me." But of course, my parents and I ignored her. As a result of that, my little sister tried to run away again, but this time she was finally caught by the debt collectors and they took her away on the spot. Thanks to that, we were no longer in danger or trouble anymore. Apparently, Jessica was forcibly sent overseas and was once again stuck having to work a suspicious job. Just once, I was curious about what happened to her after that, and I tried calling her, but my sister's cell phone had already been disconnected, and I wasn't able to get in touch with her. According to some rumors that I heard, Jessica was left with no choice but to live overseas, and they said that she's living an even more difficult life than she was in this country. Apparently, she had used a pretty evil black market lender, so no matter how much she tried to pay back all of her debt, it would only increase. I can imagine she's going to be stuck paying that back for the rest of her life. But even still, she did this all to herself, and so of course there's nobody that's going to lend a hand to her, especially not myself or my parents. And just like that, my parents and I became estranged from my little sister. After that, after we were freed from Jessica, we were able to regain a peaceful life as a family. This time it became a tradition for us to go on a family trip to the hot springs every New Year's holiday, and my parents are looking forward to it every year as well. Now that my little sister was gone, we had become a family of 3, and from now on I knew that I needed to support my parents more than ever, so I decided to put even more effort into my job. As a result of that, I managed to get a promotion at my company, and my salary was increased again. I want to save up money now so that when my parents retire and live off Social Security, that we won't have to worry about our livelihood. After all the struggles that they went through because of my little sister, I didn't want them to have to struggle because of money ever again. Because of those deep feelings, maybe that was connected to my motivation towards my work. I can only pray for our happiness from now on as a family of 3.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.